And the IZONE Sharpshooter system works great in trending markets or choppy markets. We've got some scalp trades, some swing trades, several different trades all on one chart. You're not having to, you hear us talk a lot about Apex. At Apex, we talk a lot about having more than one play in your playbook, having more than one club in your golf bag, being able to trade different market conditions. Sometimes you have a great trending system that you've discovered and you've really mastered and you have down the rules, but it only works during trending days. Okay, well, what about choppy days? How do you trade choppy days? You have to have a whole different system and complete different indicators and a whole other chart, and maybe you're looking to do some scalp trading as well in between, and that's a whole other separate chart. You got all these charts and all these monitors and all these different systems and rules, and the IZONE Sharpshooter system really brings everything all together, all on one chart, and lets you trade all of those types of markets from one chart. Gives you a great overall view of what's going on with the market, what's the market condition, and it's a great system. Some of you are familiar with it and you've been trading it all along. A lot of you here on this webinar are brand new, or you've been with us in the past and you're just kind of coming on to check out what this is. So bear with us today as far as those of you that are very familiar with it. I'm going to go through and I want to basically do an overview of the IZONE Sharpshooter system. It's not going to be hours and hours of an in-depth step-by-step training, but you'll see that really just in 20 or 30 minutes of being on this webinar, you'll have the system down. It's super easy. We do have a step-by-step training course that can answer all of your questions, and I'll go through and show you that, where you can find that if you want to dig in a little deeper. But I'm going to give you a good overview today, show you where you can go in and get step-by-step training and answer any questions you have. The training course will do that. But I'm going to show you at the end how you can check this out for a couple of weeks for just a $7 easy quick trial. Okay, so I want to show you the new system, give you an overview of it. I'm going to show you some charts too. I spent some time going through yesterday and today, just grabbing some quick screenshots. I want to show you how the system works. I want to show you some performance of it. And I don't want to go back, and if there's one thing that I hate myself is I hate being on a webinar or hate somebody show me their new strategy or system and they're pulling some random chart from one random afternoon last October that just happened to work out. I don't care about that. I don't want to see that. I want to know if your system works right now. What did it do today? What did it do yesterday? You know what I mean? And yeah, I've got a few examples in here from a few weeks back or some old PowerPoint stuff, but I ran through several different markets and I pulled some stuff from today, pulled some stuff from yesterday. I want you to see what it's doing now, not just some random great little example that somebody gives you of a system. That means nothing to me, And I want to go through, and it's always easy when somebody's showing you a new system to look back to the left side of the chart. You know what I mean? To look backwards and say, well, if you twisted your head just right and you were lucky and you happened to get in right here, look what the market did. Okay, well, that's great, but how in the world would I have known to ever get in right there? You ever seen that? Like you're watching a video or something about some new system and they're like, well, if you would have gotten in here, and you're going, why would I have ever gotten in there? How would I have ever known to do that? That's just luck of the draw. And that means nothing to you and nothing to me. If a system's not easy, simple, usable, extremely clear where to get in or where not to get in, it's kind of worthless in my opinion. And I would imagine that most of you would agree with that. And so I'm going to be very, very clear to you about the system today. Very simple, very easy, very defined entry and exit rules. Okay, so let's just knock out a couple of things here. Like I said, system is very simple. I'm going to show you. As you can imagine, red means sell, green means buy. We're using what's called IZONE levels. So as always, trading futures, options, or any financial instrument involves risk, may not be suitable for every investor. Any trading decisions you make is your sole responsibility. Information here is for informational purposes only and not a solicitation of an offer to buy or sell any particular financial instrument, and past performance not indicative of future results. Like I said, we'll show you a few examples here. don't let the chart overwhelm you, okay? I'm gonna show you a couple charts here. For those of you that never seen it, don't let it overwhelm you. I'll walk you through it here in a few minutes and it will make perfect sense to you. Just wanna show you a couple little results here just over the last, I'm gonna show you some examples from yesterday, just to give you an idea of kind of what we're covering here, okay? As you see on this chart, this is the chart of the NQ of the NASDAQ yesterday afternoon. Look at the timestamp here. I just grabbed some stuff from the afternoon, and Daryl had marked some stuff up here too. About 2:20 in the afternoon, as the market was popping up, market's coming into what we call an IZONE here. I'll explain that to you, and we had a turnaround in the market, okay? And with our IZONE Sharpshooter system, we had an entry, valid entry right here, okay? Followed that trend all the way down yesterday afternoon here, and we got stopped out right here, okay? All the way down here, 30 points of profit. Okay, with $20 a point on the NQ, that's $600 in profit on one trade, one contract. Okay, one futures contract, 600 bucks right there. You can do one contract, 5, 10, whatever you're doing. That trade lasted till about what? About 250 here, right? Yesterday. Then let's look right after that. What happened as the market came down? About same day, yesterday, same chart. About 3 o'clock, came back down to this different IZONE. We had a long entry. Followed that all the way up here. Got stopped out here. Grabbed another 20 points on NQ for about another 400 bucks. Okay, and that trade went to about, what, 3 o'clock? And then I think I actually got this particular screenshot here from Mr. Chris Wall. A little bit later, he popped this long entry here. And I think he was up a couple $100 at the time of the screenshot. He ended up a little bit over 500 bucks. Okay, so this is the system I want to show you. And I'm going to show you a lot more examples here. I just want to give you an idea. This is the type of system I want to show you is how do I catch these trends? How do I catch these trades? When do I know to get in? How can I get some results like this? Okay, and that's what I'm going to show you here. And I'm going to walk you through all this. Now, the IZONE Sharpshooter system, we use that to trade Nadex spreads. You can trade Forex, futures, stocks, or CFDs, okay? So I'm just gonna break a chart down for you a little bit here, all right? We're gonna kind of back up and we're gonna kind of start from scratch here. I'm gonna show you a handful of different things that we put together to build this system. That way you kind of know what's behind it. I'm going to break each one down just real quick here. I'm not going to get into crazy details with you and programming and, you know, and bore you with that. It's going to kind of give you an idea of what is behind this system and then show you how we put it all together. And then we're just going to look at some charts and show you some entries and some trades. Okay. So Dave's asking right now, are those 5-minute charts? Dave, what these are called, if you look right here, see this is called H/10 tick 5-minute bars. Okay. These are what we call continuum bars, all right? They're tick bars. They're not necessarily time-based bars, not a 1-minute or 5-minute or 10-minute bar. It's tick bars, all right? And right here, this 8/10, what that means is, let's say a bar closes up, okay? For it to make a new bar, that bar has to go up by 8 ticks to make a new long bar. If the bar goes down 10 ticks, see, 8 or 10, then it makes a new short bar, okay? So it's not time-based, all right? That's the one downside to time-based bars, is that we don't necessarily just need a random new bar on our chart just because the Earth rotated on its axis a few times, a few degrees, right? It's not really telling us something necessarily. It's just making up new bars. And if every new minute there's a bar, then a bar, then a bar, then a bar, it can give the false, assumption that the market is moving. And that's not necessarily always the case, is it? It just has to make a new bar because a certain amount of time has passed. So that's why we use tick bars. But in the same time, it might take the market an hour to form a new bar. So to be able to get a good overall perspective of what the market's doing, kind of get the best of both worlds, we combine them. Okay, so these are tick bars. And like I explained, it's 8 or 10 ticks, 8 ticks to make a new up bar or 10 to make a down bar, or give me a new bar if it hasn't done 8 or 10 ticks within 5 minutes. Okay, so it kind of gives you the best of both worlds. It gives you an idea of time and of actual movement. All right, so all the bars that you'll see on the charts I show you today, okay, are the continuum bars. Okay, Darby, why are some so much shorter? Like I just said, because if it doesn't make an 8 or 10 tick move to make a new bar within 5 minutes, then a new bar is made. All right, so that's why some of them aren't a full 8 or 10 tick, because they didn't quite move a full 8 tick between 8 ticks within 5 minutes. Okay. All right. Yes, Steve, that is modifiable. Yep. Most of the templates you see us use, and most of the like on the indices, we use 8-10. Yeah, it's modifiable. Exactly. So, and I'll show you where you can watch a video, like a full video about our different bars, exactly how they work, different settings, and so on. Okay. But just want to explain to you up front, any bars you see on our charts are these continuum bars, and that's how they work. Okay. So let's talk about institutional zones. We call them IZONES. All right, hence the IZONE Sharpshooter system. What are institutional zones? Many of you have heard about them. Many of you have heard, you know, hey, the smart money moves the market, or the big money moves the market. The institutional money moves the market. These big investment firms and banks move the market. And you've all heard about, hey, follow the big money. All right, hey, when the market starts to move, or when the market starts to turn, is that the start of a trend? Who's making that trend? Is it just other traders that heard something random on the news, and so now they're all selling, and that's starting to make the market move, and I'm going to get in, and then it's going to stop and go back? Or is this the big money that's moving the market and might move it a good amount? Because if this is the big money that's moving the market, I want to get in and follow them for a little bit, right? We've all heard about that in trading, of these institutional zones and following the big money. But a lot of times that's what happens, is we're like, well, I understand that there's these big institutional companies moving the market, or I understand that there's certain levels of the market that are big support and resistance levels based on, you know, institutional trades, but I always seem to get in late. I find myself, you know, thinking, oh, okay, the market's moving, but, you know, oh, it's moving, but then I seem to sell down here at the low, or I seem to not buy until right up here at the high, and then the market turns against me. Like, you know, I've heard this, and I like the idea of trading with institutional zones, but what do I do? How do I know when to get in? Okay, well, here's an example of a chart with some IZONES on it. Okay, they're automatically plotted on the chart here, and new zones are plotted on the chart as new levels are made. Obviously, your green zones are what? Those would be support levels, right? Levels to buy at. All right, these reddish colored zones are going to be kind of resistance levels to sell at. All right, but what a lot of us, if you've ever played with these before, what do you find yourself doing? Well, if you look to the left side of the chart here, you're like, okay, the market was coming up. Oh, look, it got into an IZONE area, got into a strong, you know, resistance level there. Okay, so I know that I'm going to want to sell soon, and oh, look, there's a down close bar. Sweet, let me sell, right? Oh, but look, nope, market popped up. Oh, maybe it stopped me out. Okay, you guys ever had that where it's like, okay, those are great levels, but how do I trade them? What do I do with them? You know, do I wait for it to fully come out of it? But well, this one kind of came out of it, like it went down here, then a new bar formed and started to go down a little more. So I thought, sweet, we're out of it. Let me get in and go with it. Nope, pop back up. Or well, okay, I have these IZONES. I bought some random indicator or some random, you know, service that supposedly shows me these zones, but I don't know how to trade them. So let me slap one of my random indicators on it, All right. Abdul says, yeah, that's me. Yeah, right? Because it hit the level. You got a down close bar. The next bar starts to go down. What do you think? Oh, it's bouncing. Let's go. Oh, nope. Gotcha, Abdul. Thanks. Right? You know, and you're like, man, the market's out to get me. And it's out to get just me. I placed my stop right up here, and it popped back and got me. It's after me. Well, so you're like, okay, well, I have these zones, I have these levels, when do I get in? So I'll throw some random indicator. Let me throw a SAR on there, you know, or let me throw a MACD, and you might throw an indicator on there, and well, maybe it tells you, maybe it doesn't. Well, what does that indicator look at? You slap some random indicator on there. Is it looking at previous bars, high and lows? Is it looking at volume? Is it looking at order flow? What is it looking at? Is that one indicator enough to tell you, hey, that market hit that level, but now it's going to turn around? Well, sometimes the market can hit one of these levels, and then what can it do? It can bounce there for a little bit, right? Some crazy volume can come in, and it can keep going up to another level. You know what I mean? Just because it hits one of these levels does not automatically mean, boom, let's go. And just because it hits one of these levels and a bar or even two bars starts to make a reversal, doesn't always mean it can't just be a quick little retrace and pop back up and break through it. So you need more than just one indication that, hey, it hit that level and now it's turning around. And that's why at times not having the right mixture of indicators at these levels can be an issue, because maybe it's only looking at the last 5 bars high and low, and those last 5 bars were choppy, and maybe it's giving you a wrong signal. Maybe it's not taking into account volume or something that could push the market through there. Maybe it's not looking at overall trend. You have to have the right combination to know, okay, now it's time to go. All right? And so everybody understands what IZONE levels are, okay? So now let's look at what are institutional zones. Well, I just showed it to you on a chart. You don't really care about the back-end programming of it, but it plots these institutional zones utilizing supply and demand zones from the last X number of bars, as long as they're maintained into the future X number of bars, and so on. It's not just plotting a random recent magnet level high or low. It's making sure that it's maintained moving forward a certain amount of bars. It will plot new IZONE levels when they're made, and it keeps all the broken levels in there for historical views. Okay. Speaking of, I want to show you one other thing real quick here. Notice these big levels here that haven't been broken yet. But look, as the market is coming down, starting to get to another level here. What can we kind of expect it to do there? It may not always just hit this buy level and pop back up, right? But what can we normally expect it to do at another level? Boom. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Kind of pauses there, right? Kind of chops a little bit, and then what's it do? Breaks on through that level. You see that? Kind of consolidates right there. Yeah, exactly, Stephen. Kind of gets there. And what are you thinking? If you don't know, okay, market hit this level, came down, perfect. Oh, now market's getting to this green zone level. It's going to come up. Oh, there's an up bar. There's another up bar. Well, it retraced. Oh, another up bar. I'm going to buy it. Nope. Went on down. Right? Exactly. Abdul says, yeah, that's when it scares me. It's like, what is it going to do? Well, let's find out. Okay? So, I want to just briefly run through a couple of indicators here that we use. All right, right here in front of you, these are the same bars that I just showed you. All right, but I also have an indicator on here called the bar trend chop filter. Notice that you see red bars and you see green bars, but you also see orange colored bars, don't you? Basically, what this indicator does, all right, it paints the bar the color of the trend as opposed to the color of the bar close. All right, for example, look right here. Up green bar, up green bar, up green bar, up green bar. What is this? It's a down green bar. How can a down close bar be green? Well, because look, what happened right here? kind of a little choppy, right? Just because this one closed down a little bit doesn't necessarily mean you're out of that chop yet, does it? It could mean that. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, right? So this is a chop indicator, all right? It takes into account choppy areas, so you're not just influenced by green or red bars to determine direction, okay? It filters out the chop with the orange bars, and this is a chop filter. This is not a trend confirmation indicator, all right, necessarily. It's more of a chop filter to let you know when you've gone through the choppy times, all right? So we're looking at the time of bars to close and previous highs and lows and so on, multiple indications here. So that is one of the first things we use to determine chop, to not get in on a choppy bar just because it looks red or green at one of those levels, all right? Now I'm going to show you where you can get more information about all these indicators. I'm just giving you a quick rundown, all right? We're not getting real technical here. We also have our trend bands, all right? As you see, these trend bands, just a band that goes through the bars here, and you've either got green band or you've got red band, okay? Obviously, green is what? Showing the market going up, red going down. This is more of a trend indicator, okay? And this is not an indicator that's like a standalone indicator. It's used to work with other indicators, okay? And this is looking like, for example, the last X number of bars directionally overall. All right, so that's what we call trend bands, and they're either red or they're green, okay? We also have our trend flip indicator, all right? Trend flip indicator is a directional confirmation indicator. Again, it's not a standalone indicator, okay? It is to be used in conjunction with others, okay? Yeah, Dustin says, my patient gets the better of me during these weird chops. I just walk away. Yeah, they can be very frustrating. Very frustrating. I'm going to show you here in a minute how to eliminate a lot of those. All right, this is our trend flip indicator. All right, this is a trend, another trend confirmation indicator. All right, and if you notice something here, it's a little bit more of a longer term trend indicator. And what I mean by that, I'll show you here in just a second. But this is not a chop filter like the bar colors. It's more of a trend indicator. All right, and it's designed a little bit differently than the trend bands that I showed you. It looks at a little bit different things than the trend bands do. All right, that way you have two separate different trend confirmations. I remember we talked about that before. You're hitting one of those levels and you want to enter the trade. Well, you slap some random indicator on there. What is it looking at? Is it looking for chop? Is it looking at short-term trend, long-term trend? Is it looking at volume? Is it looking at crossovers of other indicators? Is it looking at X number of bars back? What all is it looking at? Okay. We also have our MVP indicator, which are these little triangle-looking things here. They plot similar to like a SAR, but they're a little bit different. They don't flip as quick. They kind of flatten out sometimes during some choppy times. All right, you see that as they start to flatten out, a little bit choppier times there. All right, and I'll show you how we use those a little bit. And then we have what we call our trend catcher indicator. This is one I want you to pay a little closer attention to. The trend catcher, this is kind of our short-term trend indicator. This is not necessarily looking at the last hour or the last, 30 bars. It's looking at a shorter-term trend. It shows us what is the immediate trend of the market. What is the immediate trend of the market? Remember something I showed you here on trend flip? Okay. Notice how on trend flip, when you get down here, you start to get some green bars and some green bars and green bars and green bars. Then you get a trend flip, right? Here, red bar, bar, red bar, then a trend flip. Little bit longer to flip, right? What about trend catcher? Green bar, then boom, you start getting indications. Red bar, boom. See what I mean? It's a little bit quicker. The way the trend catcher works, see this cyan colored arrow right here at the close of this bar? The cyan arrow is basically a heads up arrow. It's like, hey, heads up, market may be turning around. Looks like there's going to be a turnaround and potentially a new entry. All right. It's not an entry. We don't enter on this cyan arrow. It's a, hey, heads up, looks like the market's heading down. If it keeps heading down and breaks to this level here, boom, you're going to get a red arrow that's a confirmation of, boom, new immediate trend direction. Up bar, hey, cyan bar, hey, get ready, maybe so. Breaks it, boom, solid green. Hey, it's confirmed. Switched immediate direction. Go with it. You see that? Okay, so basically we've got some short-term immediate trend indicators, longer-term indicators that are programmed looking at certain highs and lows and crossovers and X number of bars back. We've got bars that are looking at tick movement of the market and time-based movement of the market. We combine these all together and we get the perfect combination when we combine them with the IZONES of what's going to happen at those levels. And let me just show you a quick kind of glance here at them all together. At first glance of this, you're like, whoa, what is all this stuff? Okay? Don't pay attention to the stuff on the bottom of the chart here. What are we looking at on the chart? Well, what do we have up here? What are these orangish red colored lines? Zones. Those are IZONES, right? Sell zones. What is this green zone right here? It's an IZONE. Institutional zone. We talked about those, right? Okay. Well, what is all this mess? Well, we have our bars. You know what our bars are, right? Look right here. We got a bar with a red shade, bar with a red shade. What is this? Bar with an orange shade. So what does that orange mean? Choppy, right? It hasn't confirmed to a red bar as a down bar. Remember we talked about that, right? And what are these bands? See these shaded? Those are the trend bands that are either what? Red or green, right? Remember our trend flipped lines? Either red or green, okay? So all together, you kind of see the whole picture there, okay? So let's talk a little bit here. Let's